Hi everyone, I'm Ken from CryptoTradingKS. If you're new, a very warm welcome and welcome back KS family. Let's run the numbers. Today I want to show you something really fascinating. A lot of people don't look at Bitcoin because, in all truth, it can be really slow to take off. But I'm going to show you that is not always the case, and we're going to look at AI to actually look at Bitcoin. Stay tuned, it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to invert the chart of Bitcoin. I just want to warn you straight away. We can see Bitcoin is currently trading at 28,348. Does this look like a cut under or a cut over? And of course, if you're new to the channel, you say, Ken, what are you talking about? Let's look at this particular support line. It's quite a tight support line, but that's the way we do things. Here in the CTKS community, we're all about the most rapid signals. What did we actually see here? This support was broken. It's actually cracked that support. But don't forget, I've inverted the chart. I want to give you a new way to look at crypto, and of course you can apply this to anything, the stock market, forex, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. Sometimes inverting a chart can give you a really good picture of what's going on. I've put Bitcoin back the right way, and what do we see here? We dipped into a smart money buy area between 27,843 and 28,038. We actually sold down pretty harshly, but we remagnetized and we've shot above that. Why is this happening? So many people got an absolute sense of certainty that Bitcoin was just going to collapse. All those shorts got liquidated. What you're looking at is a liquidation spike. When we look at the S&P 500 futures, what we actually notice, there was a negative momentum inside the stock market. That translated to a more than negative momentum inside Bitcoin. But we've seen a bit of life in the stock market, and Bitcoin is gaining a lot of strength from that. In yesterday's episode, we talked about gravity and relativity. So many fantastic comments. Just wonderful. What do we see here? Yesterday, we talked about if Bitcoin comes down, what do we expect the crypto market to do? If it comes down, what do we expect it to go down? But if it comes up, what do we expect crypto to do? We expect it to come up. Has this actually happened? In ADA's case, it's happened plus. Look at ADA go. Looking at gravity gives directional correlation. It's very important to understand it, and we do deep dives on that inside the masterclass. You can see Ethereum moving with Bitcoin's gravity, BNB also, XRP also. That gravitational alignment is happening. And look at ADA, it's moving in alignment, but it's absolutely overextending the plus side. Good on you, Charles. And we look at Doge. Doge came back to gravity, but it was lacking gravity. Remember that. Yesterday we discussed it. And it's like all cryptos. Cryptos just wobble around Bitcoin's gravity. This is a very important thing to understand. But now we're going to look at relativity, and then we're going to get into AI. From a relativity perspective, we're comparing how two percentages play out. We can see Ethereum is up 10.5%, but Bitcoin up nearly 17%. What about BNB? Only up 3%. So it's much weaker than Ethereum. Same relative performance in Bitcoin. What about XRP? XRP has been just going for it. There's no other way to say it. It's up nearly 43.5% relative to Bitcoin, up a little over 16. And what about ADA? It's just starting to make its move. Look at that, 15% up for Bitcoin, and now realistically over 23.5% for ADA. Fantastic. But when we look at Doge, it's just slightly under Bitcoin at the moment. 11%, well, 11.7 versus 14. Roughly 2%. What does this mean, and how do you use it? That's more important. We can see the BNB is very much suppressed. Of course, there's been a lot of negative news for Binance recently. Always remember, we're looking for investor attention. Investor attention first shifted to XRP. Now ADA is getting a go. You want to look at investor attention. It's very, very important. Let's have a look at the top AI projects and look at them under the microscope of gravity. What we're trying to do here is to understand how directionally correlated or not specific AI projects are. What about the graph? How correlated do you think it is? Please let me know in the comments. What about AGIX? Look at this loss of gravity. It's still relatively strong in terms of its directional movement, but you can see that gap. That's not at all like GRT, the graph. What about RNDR? What do we see there? Yes, it's following Bitcoin's gravity. What about injective protocol, INJ? We can see it's also following Bitcoin's gravity, but starting to invert slightly. That's a pretty good sign. But we need to look at relativity, don't we? Just can't look at gravity. We need to go the whole 9 yards. What is Rose doing? Rose is following Bitcoin's gravity. When Bitcoin comes down, what does Rose do? It goes down. When Bitcoin comes up, what does Rose do? It goes up, but not necessarily by the same amount. Just keep that in mind. What about Fetch AI, FET? What is it doing? It's kind of like AGIX, isn't it? Singularity Net. They're very, very similar. Fetch AI and Singularity, very close in terms of their pattern recognition. This is the kind of stuff you want to look at. What about Ocean? We can see that Ocean is moving in directional alignment, but a little bit weaker. Not quite as weak as what's happening here. You can see Fetch, or FET, is coming down pretty much in a straight line. Look at this, it's more flat. Just keep these things in mind. They're very important to understand. And what about RLC? Look at that. What an incredible, incredible performance that RLC put in. And then it came back to gravity and then got crushed by it. You can see how important it is to have a trader's mindset. You don't want to buy around the top there if you can avoid it. We can always get stuck with positions that don't work out. That's true, but you try to minimize those as much as possible. Now it's relativity time. And what do we see with the graph? Look at Bitcoin just crushing AI right underneath its shoes. Well, if that's if Bitcoin wore shoes, it would be crushing it. We can see Bitcoin is up about 16.5% versus the graph only up 2%, roughly at the moment. Look at AGIX. It's been absolutely slaughtered, down about 10.5% versus Bitcoin up around 17% over the same period of time. What about Render? Up 4 and Bitcoin up 17. What about injective? Yes, we can see the strength. Bitcoin up around 17, but injective up around 32%. Well done, injective. Let's have a look at Rose. Rose is up about 2% relative to Bitcoin's 15. And when we look at Fetch AI, it's not looking crash hot at all. It's down 13, nearly 13.5% versus Bitcoin's up 16%. What about Ocean? You notice that the ones that weren't looking gravitationally good are also relatively poor performers at the present time. This is how you can stitch gravity and relativity together. Ocean is down about 13% versus Bitcoin's up 15%. And when we look at RLC, wow, what an effort RLC put in. It just went up like literally 50%, but it's now up only 8%. This is the thing. Be very, very aware of Bitcoin's gravity. You can see you need gravity plus relativity. Inside the CryptoTradingKS Masterclass, we do deep dives on all of these areas. And I also give you a couple of very, very powerful indicators. As you saw with RLC, it's very important to be in sync with the market. The market simply does this. If you're in sync, you get paid. And if you're not in sync, if you're desynchronized, you pay. That's all there is to it. The market has no knowledge of who you are. It just knows if you're synchronized or not. Please let me know in the comments, did you learn anything new? And of course, what projects do you like in the AI space? What you'll find is one of the fastest ways to get synchronized is through positive excellence. Please let me know in the comments, has positive excellence been of help to synchronize you, or just in your general work or life, relationships, all of those things? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Truly successful people don't become successful without successful habits. Literally, better habits create a better life, and we know all results come from the mind, so a better mind creates better outcomes. The CTKS Creed is literally full of successful habits. These habits, when you tell yourself these words, it can literally change lives. Instead of thinking negatively about the world, think, I know the universe is designed to make me succeed. And one beloved family member, community member inside the CTKS global family said, when you do the CTKS Creed, you must say it with commitment. You must believe these words because these words are powerful. It's very easy to feel isolated and to feel let down by those around us and the world in general. That's why we say, every day I show kindness, integrity, and gratitude. This is a successful habit. Sometimes we feel bad because the one that got away, or the fact that we didn't act when we wanted to act. That's why it's so important to say, I know opportunities and life reset daily. People these days are in a rush. They're in a rush to get to work. They're in a rush to eat their lunch. They're in a rush to get back to work. They're in a rush to get home. They're in a rush to eat dinner. And they're in a rush to go to bed, to do it all again. Successful people think incredibly differently to that. They go slow to go fast. They're very, very deliberate in what they do. They don't rush, they think. And of course, one of the most important things to know is that you are worthy. So saying, I am worthy, I go slow to go fast is very important. History is literally littered with the broken dreams of people that want to start big and scale even bigger. Greed is an absolutely unlimited commodity. Having the right positive excellence foundations is very important because if you don't have them, everything you build, you will lose. That's why we say, I start small and scale with BORSOG. If you're joining us for the first time, you might say, Ken, what is BORSOG? That is a very specific rule. It is buy on red, sell on green. This is the opposite of what retail does. But all professionals think this way. Just like price, life moves in a wave, but life pullbacks give me the strength for the next life rally. You must keep yourself really positive. The greater the pullback, the greater the promotion will be. Just think about it like that. Never ever give up. We literally live in a short attention span generation. If things aren't 1 second or less, people lose interest. You can say there's an epidemic of just not caring, undedicated and uncommitted actions. This is a surefire way to fail at anything in life. We do the opposite. We have the successful habit. I am dedicated and committed. I win or learn and never blame. To us, there's no such thing as failure. It's simply a learning thing that we need to acquire because the next learning thing will be along shortly. We don't take it personally. We don't make mistakes. We've just learned something. And one of the most important things that you can ever understand, I always solve my problems with positive excellence. This is a very, very important thing to do. If you solve your problems with respect, courage, strength, and boundaries, and of course kindness, you're going to have a much better outcome than if you solve it with violence. I'm talking about default reactions. Take time to learn and understand why it is that other people do what they do. If higher levels of action are required, definitely take them. That's why we have boundaries. Inside the masterclass, there's a whole section on positive excellence and real wealth, and many, many students have found it life-changing. Have a great day or night ahead, my friends, and Kate and I look forward to catching up with you tomorrow.